Natalie Jones. I'm here with Dr. Amanda Edsell at Farragut High School. We're going to get into it. This is a little bit different than normal. A Big Orange Business podcast usually is typically like we dive in, we do some rapid fire, but this is different because we're talking about a local initiative through Knox County. It's called the 865 Academies. So let's get started. All right, Amanda, welcome.
Thanks for having
me. Well, actually,
me.
I should say thanks for having me. I'm sitting in Amanda's office right now, so I think I should be like, thanks for having me. Anyways, okay, so I'm going to read your bio from the 865 Academies website. Okay. Dr. Edsell joined Knox County Schools in 2011 as an English language arts teacher and basketball coach at Carnes Middle School. Beavers?
Yeah, my alma mater.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you graduate from Carnes High School?
Yeah.
I graduated from West. It's far superior. Anyways, just kidding. She has also worked as a teacher and basketball coach at Bearden High School, basically. She then assumed the instructional coach and response to intervention coordinator role at Bearden High School. She worked as an assistant principal at Bearden High School from 2017 to 19 and Bearden Middle School from 19 to 22. Dr. Edsell received a bachelor's degree in English and youth ministry from King College, a master's degree in secondary curriculum and instruction from King College, and a doctorate in education and educational leadership from Liberty University. Anyways, okay, so now, as you can see in the background, 865 Academies, Dr. Edsell, can I call you Amanda?
Please.
For the purposes of this?
Yes.
This is my friend, by the way. But, so for the purposes of what we're talking about today, Amanda, Dr. Edsell is the 865 Academies coach at Farragut High School. So what exactly does that mean?
Well, the 865 Academies is a transformation that all Knox County high schools are going through right now. Farragut is considered a cohort 1 school, so we're in our second year of the 865 Academies rollout, but all the other high schools are also doing this transformation as well. And in a very short summary, it is basically taking a large school and making it smaller and providing career opportunities for students throughout their high school career.
Cool. So, a couple things. We're going to back it all the way up. So, first cohort. So, you, Farragut, and a couple others, it's 7 schools? Or 8?
Yeah, 8.
8 schools total were the first to implement this in the 2022-23 school year,
yes.
Right? So, that started with those freshmen,
yes.
The 2022-2023 ninth graders.
Class of 2026.
Okay, there we go. I was like, I can't do it. I was about to try, and then I was like, stop. Anyways, okay. So now we are, as we're recording this, it is spring of 2024, which means this second cohort or second class for Farragut started in the fall of 2023. So you're now in your second class of freshmen.
Yes.
So essentially 50% of the school is now a part of
yes.
865 Academies. So that being said, you know, your first year, so then also this idea about a smaller school within a school. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about that.
Sure. So, for example, Farragut High School is one of the largest high schools in Knox County. We have over 2,000 students. And often when a student comes to high school, they have 8 different teachers each year. They go throughout, and it's really easy for a student who isn't plugged in maybe with a sports team or a really specific club to kind of just fall through the cracks. But with the academy structure, they have similar teachers throughout their high school career, they are co-located in the school building a little bit more, and then they have similar students. And so the concept would be that instead of 2,000 Farragut High School students, we have 500 Academy of Business students with similar teachers, getting to know them better, supporting them more, those kind of things.
So it sounds like basically building a smaller community within the larger piece.
Yes.
So everyone here is a Farragut admirable.
We are admirable.
A Farragut admiral, but also they are within a just cohort that did now. As far as the academy that they're in, I know you guys have recently kind of been through that process, but what are the academies exactly when it comes to Farragut High School? What does that look like here?
Sure. So at Farragut High School, we have 3 career-themed academies. We have the Academy of Business, the Academy of Engineering and Technology, and the Academy of Health and Life Sciences. We also have a separate freshman academy just for our 9th grade students. And high schools across Knox County all have distinct academies within their 10th through 12th grade students.
So for the business one, for example, how did you come to those three, basically?
Sure.
Because your freshman class is how many students?
About 510.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
510 and a half.
we have 512 today, actually.
There you go. Okay, so how did you come upon those three specific academies here?
Sure. So it was a lot of different factors that helped form those academies. It was student interest programs that we already had or were looking to have, student aptitude, community input, teacher input, all went to formulate what are now our three career-themed academies.
So student input, teacher input, community input. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, student interest, aptitudes, those kind of things.
Okay, so also, how is this different than, say, for example, a graduation requirement? Mm-hmm. How does this fit in with the graduation requirements? And then also, how does this fit in with programs like International Baccalaureate or AP coursework? Mm-hmm. Like, what's the distinction?
Sure. So this is really, though it is transformational, it is just meant to supplement and support a student's high school career already. So in regards to a graduation requirement, every student who graduates from a Tennessee public high school has to have what's called an elective focus, which is 3 classes within a specific area of focus. Mm-hmm. So in the 865 Academies, when a student selects a pathway, in theory, that pathway becomes their elective focus. So if I choose marketing, for example, I will take 3 classes in marketing, and that will meet my elective focus graduation requirement. Mm-hmm. As it impacts International Baccalaureate or AP, it really doesn't. Those classes are still available to all students. There's still room in schedules for all of those classes. And so, in fact, we are hoping to add more advanced placement classes, dual enrollment classes, those types of things to help propel students and get them even more prepared for college or career.
Cool. So basically, 865 Academies exists as a supplement to what's already happening on the instructional side of things. Just to kind of beef up what students are offered, basically. Yeah,
I'd say the biggest difference is the extra opportunities or the opportunities beyond the classroom walls that come with the 865 Academies. So all freshmen have access to several industry speakers throughout their freshman year, and then sophomores get an opportunity to go on a post-secondary visit and also an industry field trip that's related to their pathway of interest.
Yeah.
Juniors get to job shadow, and seniors get an opportunity to do a capstone, like an internship or a project that they work on throughout a semester, something like that, that is meant to bring in the industry that they are interested in into the coursework that they're also working on.
Cool. So in order to accommodate these academies, was there a need for, like addition of new class electives? Like, how does this kind of thread into classes available, I guess? Does that make sense? Like, yeah.
So I think it just restructured what we were already doing and put a little bit more purpose into class selection. So instead of, picking random classes that maybe you're interested in, which you can still do in this model, but if I'm going to use marketing as the example, because I just used it. If I'm in the marketing pathway, I'm guaranteed a seat in those classes, which is important because sometimes classes fill up because they're really popular or they work in a schedule. And so as a marketing student, I can definitely take marketing, but also if there's room in other electives in the business academy or not, veterinary science, for example, that I'm interested in, I can still take that as well.
That's cool. So essentially, if I am in the business academy, if that was my thing of interest, then a class that's geared towards that, I'm going to have, is it like you're favored? Not favored, but essentially that's going to be in your schedule.
Yes.
Because you chose that path, basically. Yes. So you're not necessarily in competition, I guess. In my mind, I'm thinking like back in my day, and I mean, even like as a teacher, I'm thinking, well, I taught math, so it's like everyone had to have what I was teaching. So I wasn't going through like, do seniors get priority? So it sounds like it's more of like priority towards a focused intention on coursework.
Yeah, and I think it's making it intentional as well, providing similar teachers, again, to get to know students for the relationship piece. But also just thinking back, because you taught math, and so let's say you are a math teacher, you might be a math teacher in the Academy of Business. So most of your students are going to be Academy of Business students. Okay. You might see them as a sophomore, you might see them again as a junior. So again, making big feel small.
That's cool. Yeah. So what has been the reception from like your teacher corps, from your faculty?
Sure. I think any big change or small change, sometimes change is hard. Yeah. Right? And so I think that there was a lot of hesitation across the board in Knox County. What is this thing? Why are we doing it? Now, even though we are just in year 2, there was a planning process that was years in the making. So there were committees, and there were just a lot that went into it, from the school side, from the community side, from the business side as well. So we're really living in year 6 or 7 of this transformation, and I think that if you talked with our teachers here at Farragut, especially our freshman teachers, because they're in year 2, they love it. Yeah. They love seeing the students more regularly. That's not typical in a high school. They also love the community that they have built as the freshman academy. Academies meet once a week to talk about students, to talk about academy business, to talk about things that are happening that they can support students with. And I think now in that second year, especially, seeing the benefits of that is really a motivation to just go deeper into the academies.
Right. So, challenging, but also now more buy-in. It sounds like people are feeling more of that same community sense even at the faculty level.
Yeah. I think too, the cool thing is getting teachers out into industries as well. So we do that with our field trips, and then we do also what's called a teacher externship. And so Highway Transport hosted our Academy of Business this past year, and our teachers, so our business teachers, but also our English, math, science, social studies teacher, had the opportunity to go and just spend a day at Highway Transport learning what they did, the qualifications that were needed to work there, that kind of thing. Because, I've been in education for almost 15 years, right? I haven't been in the workplace recently that's not a school building, so I don't know all the new and all the qualifications and all those things. So I think that teachers are starting to see the way that industries are able to support this effort as well, and really see it as a collaborative thing, whereas before I feel like there has been a lot of barriers to connect with industry and the community.
Well, and it sounds like that this is more of a we need the whole team on board kind of thing.
Sure.
Like by having teachers go to externships, it's not as if it's something that's happening to the students. It sounds as if it's more of like this is what the school is doing.
Right.
Which I think is awesome. Okay, so let me ask you, when it comes to reception outside of the building, like how are parents receiving it? How are business locally receiving it? What's that been like?
Yeah, so it's been, I would say, one of the most exciting parts is working with businesses and just how eager businesses are to support students, which is so cool because they don't have to do that, right? I mean, but this model requires that to work. And so we've had the opportunity to work with so many different large businesses, small businesses, just guest speakers, and it has been very, very cool to see what our students come back and say after those experiences or after those guest speaker experiences, because and I think parents will understand this, but as a parent, I can tell my daughter something 100 times, but then someone walks in a room and says it once and they're like, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. And so just providing those opportunities has been really neat. I think it's been a shift for parents because, especially in the Farragut school system, we're a pretty straight feeder system. So we have a lot of students here who have had siblings graduate from here, and their parents are kind of like, what is this thing and what is happening? But it just is going to take time as we build it out, and then really working with our parents and families to make sure everyone understands the shift and why we're shifting. But I have already gotten so much positive feedback from the community about different experiences that students have been able to have because of this transformation.
Yeah. Have there been any like massive points of confusion when it comes to like parent perception of like what the program is, that like if you could just say this, hey, by the way, this is actually what this is, or if there was anything to clear up, like what would that be?
Sure. The biggest myth that I would dispel is that this is not like choosing a college major. It feels
Which
that
actually,
yeah.
I was talking with someone who I will go unnamed. We were talking about 865 Academies, and this actual thing happened. So anyways,
Yeah, I think it feels that way.
Yeah.
And so I've had conversations with so many parents about, well, my freshman does not know what they want to do with their life. And
what?
Yeah, right? Like, and that's totally fine. I mean,
Right.
I think that is why this exists in some ways, because there are some students walking our halls right now and they absolutely know what they want to do.
Right.
They have a goal, they have steps to meet that goal, and they are prepared. We have other students and they come and they're like, Dr. Edsell, I have no idea what I want to do. And to them, I say, that is okay. Let's talk about your interests. Let's put you in a pathway that you are going to be able to explore some of those interests. Students do get an opportunity to change if it's just not the right fit. But at the same time, throughout these pathway experiences, if you think about, like, remove the specific like marketing or engineering, for example, they're getting to go to industries and see what a workplace is like. They're meeting with professionals. Throughout the process, they're doing things like mock interviews, they're making resumes, they're networking. So they're building all of these professional and soft skills within this pathway that, yeah, they may not be a veterinarian when they graduate, but they are prepared to go into a workplace and introduce themselves, or prepared to interview. So I think the biggest thing would just be that, yeah, they probably don't know what they want to do, but this is a part of an exploration process.
Well, I think too that there's something to be said for like the intention of the path. So like if you're in business, if that's what you chose or your aptitude was for, then you're following through on that path, and the exposure of what that looks like, I think, is a very positive thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think there's anything negative to be gained from exposure.
Sure.
To, you know, it's definitely, in my mind, very experiential, which experience teaches. You know what I'm saying? Okay, when it comes to, I wanted to also side note and say that there is an 865 Academies website, and you can go on there and you can see the information about how this came about, from like the name to who is involved to all that. So I wanted to point that out. But anyways, go check out the website because that's going to give you more like context around this. Okay, for businesses, they're obviously a huge part of this. So, you know, what does business involvement look like for you guys? How do you find the people? Do you go find them? Do you want to be found? Like, speak to those people.
Yeah, sure. So for businesses that want to be a part of the 865 Academies, I think it happens in a variety of ways, as networking does. You know, people who are listening to this right now and they're like, that's me, I want to do that. You can go look at that website, the 865 Academies website, and there's an interest form, and you fill it out, and we have someone who is responsible for connecting partners with schools. In addition, we've had parents that come through and they work at businesses and they're just like, hey, tell me more about this, and the relationship starts that way. And then, yeah, there are times where I just reach out to businesses because I need a guest speaker for cybersecurity, for example, and I try to find businesses as close to Farragut as possible. I think really that's one of our biggest goals within all Knox County high schools, is just connecting to the community around us first, and then the broader community of greater Knoxville. But there are so many ways that businesses can help. So, you know, they can just come and be a guest speaker. Didn't you do that? You were a guest speaker last year for our freshman academy, and that's just to inform and expose freshmen to all kinds of industries, and also just professional skills, what it takes to be a good employee, or what it takes to present yourself successfully, that kind of thing. And then in any of our upper level career courses, if people want to come and speak about their expertise, but also some of the things I mentioned before. So hosting field trips for our students, job shadowing opportunities, internships, having our teachers out. And then eventually, and we're not quite there yet, right? We're still in year 2, but collaborating with teachers in the classroom. So, I'm thinking about, just an example would be, let's say if our upper level engineering class or a upper level science class partnered with Oak Ridge Research and Design, for example, and did a project in their classroom, something like that. So that's sort of where we're moving toward.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So and the thing is, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are a business owner or within a business that you think this could be a fit for, you don't have to have like the idea. It's really more like make the connection, and maybe it is a fit that you are a speaker or could host people. So I just want to encourage, I think the more businesses involved, the better.
Yeah.
So just want to encourage people to reach out. Go check out the website, fill out that form. Okay, anything that we've missed that I haven't asked you that you're like, we did not talk about this?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think.
Is there something that, like, when you started this, or when, like fall of 2022, 865 Academies is happening, and you're like, this part of this is not going to work, or that has pleasantly surprised you now, almost 2 years into it, that you're like, wow?
Sure. I think the biggest lift still is making the business connections with the school. So, like I said, we have had incredible partners come in and do a variety of things, host our students, come and speak. But if you think we have over 2,000 students here at Farragut, we have 16 different career pathways. That is a lot of students, a lot of hopeful internships or job shadows or field trips. So just trying to make sure that those students get a real experience and a real connection with someone in the industry. I think it's going really well, but there's so much more to be done in that for all the high schools.
Right.
And I think that the thing about the 865 Academies that has maybe not surprised me the most, but motivates me the most to keep going, is just hearing students after an experience talk about just all the things that they got to do, or you hear students say, well, I thought I wanted to do this, but then I heard this, and now I'm learning more about this opportunity.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard students say, I had no idea you could do that for a career, after hearing from someone come and speak. And so if I had to summarize my whole job in just a couple words, it would be to inform and expose students to all the opportunities that are available to them, and then connect them with those opportunities so that they have that moving forward when they graduate from Farragut.
So expose, provide, and show. So, like, I first heard about 865 Academies, something I thought that was super powerful that Shannon Jackson had said in this process was that a lot of students don't even know, like, what things could be a career. Because a lot of times if you ask a student, like, what do you want to be? It's like lawyer, teacher, doctor, like stuff that we all know, right? And so that's part of that aptitude test is, showing them as well, like, what do you have aptitude towards that you may not have even known had existed. So, like, if I think back to my high school, college career, I didn't know what, like, I mean, I'm still today, like, what? But, you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know, essentially. Right. So I think it's cool for the exposure, for sure. Okay, so if I am someone that is considering, like, if 865 Academies are a good thing or not for my student, like, is Knox County Schools a good thing for my student? Not that this is necessarily a video about Knox County Schools, but a lot of people that are going to watch this are going to be new to the community. What can you speak to them, or, tell them questions they need to ask when they're looking into schools or 865 Academies in general? Like, what advice would you have for them?
Sure. I would say you can can look at any school's setup on their specific website. So every high school has their academies on their school website. So that's something that you can research in advance if you're moving to the area to see what schools have, and you could do a little bit of research that way. But what I also could say is, you know, at Farragut, for example, every student doesn't fit in a pathway or an academy here, right? Like there's 2,000 of them and so many jobs.
Right.
And so I would say, you know, if you want to move to a specific area, I am certain that school can help your student figure out what they want to do or where that fits. And just because, you know, I'll do a specific example. We have a lot of students who want to go into law at Farragut, but we don't have a pre-law pathway specifically. So we just have individual conversations with kids about what kind of law do you want to go into,
right.
you know, and it turns into family law or maybe business law or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's an easy connection to go into a human and social sciences pathway or a business pathway, for example. And so just because you look at a website and you don't see exactly where your student might fit, it doesn't mean that they won't fit. It just might mean that you need to let someone get to know your student a little bit and figure that out. But every school in Knox County offers so many different amazing opportunities that I don't think you could go wrong with any of them.
Yeah, I got you. Awesome. Any last things?
I would encourage anyone that is curious about 865 Academies, whether it's from a parent perspective, a community perspective, maybe a post-secondary perspective, or a business perspective, just to reach out to the academy coach at a high school that you are interested in. We also all work really closely together, so there are a lot of times where a business might approach me with a really specific interest and I just don't necessarily have a place for that, or you know, I'm their plug but they really want to work in East Knoxville, for example, and so we definitely connect as well. We're very networked with that. So if there's any type of interest, just reaching out to an academy coach at a high school is a good way to go.
And all of those academy coaches are listed on the same page, all in a row, so you can see them all and reach out to them directly. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Amanda Edsell. I know it's funny I say it that way, but we go back.
We do.
You know, and I'm like, maybe I should have been Dr. Haley Jones, but I think that ship has sailed. Anyways. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, this was awesome. Go 865 Academies.
Yes.
See you later.